Hi everyone, thank you for joining us today for the Elcom webinar as part of the Instructure Canvas Partner webinar series. We're really excited to be talking with everyone today. Thank you to Instructure Canvas for inviting us and arranging the webinar series. Before we begin, I'd just like to say that Elcom is really proud to be a global Instructure partner. We look forward to speaking with everyone on today's webinar and moving forward as well. For a quick introduction, my name is Josh Anstey. I'm the Customer Solutions Director here at Elcom. The agenda for today is looking at what can you do with a school portal. We're going to look at some of the benefits of the school portal. And then after that, we're going to look at how you can actually improve your communication with parents, with the whole school community, and what that integration with Canvas looks like. We'll also look at a few examples, and then we'll finish that with a Q&A. As a quick reminder, today's topic is all about creating an all-in-one communication and self-service hub, and looking at ways that you can improve how your school connects and engages with students, parents, staff, and the greater school community. So what can you do with the school portal, and what are some of the areas in which organizations and schools we work with will actually implement a school portal? One of the key areas is around being able to quickly and easily distribute and share school news. So very often there's that challenge in the school that there's a lot happening. Schools are very busy places, and there's no way to quickly and easily share and distribute the school news with the appropriate users or the appropriate audience. And so right now there's typically an approach where there's that blanket, everybody gets everything, or nobody gets enough news, and you always miss out on what's potentially relevant to you. So implementing a school portal can really help ensure that you can quickly and easily distribute and share the school news to the right group of users, so that whether it's a parent or a teacher or a staff or students or alumni, the right group of users will get the news that's relevant to them. So if you're a parent and you've got a student that's in grade 9, for example, you can get information relevant to grade 9, or if they're in a certain sports team, you can get information that's relevant to a certain sports team or a campus. So that idea of being able to personalize the news and the information that's distributed on the portal based on types of users or year groups or different types of preferences is really a key driver. We also see that happen not just where you're trying to do it for a specific point in time or a specific scenario. So for example, just because you have a child that's in grade 9 and they're in a certain sports team, that's the information you want. But we also see it for thinking down the line in the future. So often parents want to be able to opt into news for other types of activities or events happening at the school that they may be interested in for future references or future years down the line. Typically it's been, those mass emails, or it's really hard, or there's too much paper. We can really automate that and make that significantly easier for the school by distributing that information on a school portal. Automating the manual processes at the school with online forms and workflow is another key requirement and key benefit we see that schools can really improve how they communicate, how they collaborate, and how they become a lot more efficient. So if you think about all the manual processes at the school, the portal is going to help you reduce the amount of paper. It's going to improve the speed and efficiency of the school. And it's also going to help create that audit trail so that you can actually report on what forms have been completed by students or by parents or by staff, or what has not been completed and still needs to be completed. You may be wondering, what type of forms do schools typically implement or put on their portal? And that really ranges. There's a broad spectrum, whether it's existing forms for staff, whether it's for students or parents. Now, a few examples of those. Medical forms, so we see that as a really key driver. There's still that issue with a piece of paper gets sent home at the beginning of the year, and the child takes that home to their parents and probably forgets to give it to them for a few days till they get reminded, sits at the bottom of the school bag, and then they finally remember, but now they've lost it, and they come back and ask for another piece of paper to take home. So you can automate that process by setting up online forms for that medical process there, where parents can jump in and quickly and easily fill that in online. It also means that if there is a change of information throughout the year, they can very quickly and easily jump online and update that. When you take that one step further, you think about how does that actually integrate then to potentially your school information system or school management system. Other examples of forms include absentee forms, staff leave request forms. So if you think about absentees, for example, students being away, instead of calling the front desk and waiting to get through and then finally getting through to reception at the front desk and being able to let them know, and then reception then has to send a note out or an email out or call the relevant head of that year group or teacher or subject. If you can automate that where a parent can quickly jump on mobile-friendly form, fill that out, and then that gets sent automatically to the appropriate people in the school, whether it's the head of the year or the certain teacher or whatever it might be. Staff leave requests as well. So the same scenario where staff can jump in, fill in those leave requests, whether they're requesting leave in the future or whether they're sick that day, and notifications need to get sent out to potentially arrange casual or relief teachers or to be able to plan PTO and annual leave ahead of time. Other key forms where we see schools trying to implement that as part of their portal are incident management. So if someone gets injured or hurt in the playground or on a sports field, for example, and they need to go through a process that can then notify what happened and lodge the appropriate process to manage that or respond to that, instead of, again, lots of paper or phone calls being made, you can automate that through online forms and workflow. Excursion permission forms and excursion permission requests, those are really key areas, and we see that on both sides, from the staff teacher perspective when they're planning an excursion or a field trip, and they need to go through that process of actually requesting that and putting the process in place to ensure that the school can pay for that, or that it's safe enough, or whatever the requirements are, so the internal approval there. And then once that's been approved, the parental approval for that field trip or camp or excursion or whatever that might be. A final example I'll give is expense forms. So for any expenses that take place at the school, whether it's ordering more stationery or more technology or whatever it might be, automating that process as well so that there's complete or transparency and you can audit all the different expenses that have taken place at the school there. And the list goes on, but if you think about your school, all the different manual processes that are taking place in your school, you can see that there are many ways in which you can automate that through forms and workflow. Another key way in which portals are implemented, and one of those key benefits, is essentially creating that one-stop shop for the school to communicate with the broader school community. And really, the portal is a great place to surface information from different systems, such as your Canvas LMS, right through to your school information system and potentially other systems you might be using. It helps also train the user that that is the one place to go to get any information with the school and engage with the school. We're not trying to take away that really important human interaction there, because that's really, really important, but we're trying to make some of those slow manual processes, or those ones where there's a bit of friction in the process where it takes too many steps or too long. We're trying to automate that and let people get access to the information they need at their fingertips as and when they need that. And so that's really one of those key benefits there, is that you can really create that one-stop shop. And parents then don't have to think, which system do I go to do this? Do I go here to look at their marks? Do I go there to look at their timetable? Do I go here to lodge an absentee and somewhere else to give permission and update the medical records? As it is, everybody's really busy. And so by implementing an easy school portal, you can create that hub where parents only have to worry about logging into one place. They only have to remember to log into one place, and they can very quickly and easily get access to any of the information around the school they need. And the great thing is, if you combine that together, it really expands to that whole school community. So if you think about prospective parents who've maybe enrolled, but their child hasn't started yet, and you can look at all the enrollment form information and all the enrollment process, right through to the existing parent, the staff, the teachers, the students, and then afterward, the alumni. So once the students moved on from the school, the alumni being able to engage and interact with the school community. When designing your school portal, you must definitely always be thinking about mobile first. And as we all probably know, it goes without saying, most of your users, the parents, the students, the staff, the alumni, they're going to be accessing the portal from mobile and tablet devices. So it's really important that the site looks great on a mobile device. If the admin interface of the portal is also mobile friendly, then you're going to make it that much easier for those users that can then easily share and publish content to the portal, as well as complete online forms and go about whatever they need to do through the portal. So it's really important to think mobile first there, to know that yes, there's they may log in through a desktop or a laptop or a computer, but the probability is that they're going to be accessing it via a mobile or a tablet device. We also recommend that you include analytics on the portal, and so it's really important to be able to then understand how are your users using the portal. So are they accessing it via a mobile device? Is it a tablet? Is it a desktop? And that helps you understand your users and deliver a better experience for them. So from the beginning, just think about mobile responsive, and it's really, really important to make sure that that portal is going to be mobile friendly there. There's always that discussion as well around building a school-specific app. And there's many different perspectives on whether you should have, a mobile responsive site and a school app, or just a school app, or just a mobile responsive site, both, and combinations and variations of those different options over there. There are also many school-specific apps to integrate to. So we're not going to get into the detail of all those options today, but it is really important to remember that, by default and most important, the site is mobile responsive, the portal is mobile responsive, and potentially consider what those apps might look like and how do you integrate to those apps. School apps are really unique. They have very specific requirements, and there are some fantastic ones out there in the market. We integrate to them all the time, and definitely recommend that you potentially look at a school app that is already available and exists, that you can jump in and potentially brand and integrate your portal to the school app, as opposed to building your own app from the beginning, because that's a timely and more costly exercise. By all means, you can definitely do that, but I think typically a lot of the school apps do a great job in their area, and it makes sense to integrate if you do want to go down the school app approach. That's not to say that school apps are important and mandatory. Again, it just comes down to knowing your school community and understanding how they're integrating and interacting with you as an organization, as a school, and as a portal as well. Your students have grown up with technology at their fingertips, and so it's really important to look at how we're actually improving your engagement with the students. They want to access information in the easiest and quickest way possible. So if a student needs to fill in an online form, or whether they need to download a new school policy or register for a school event, the portal is a great central place to do this. And this also helps to ensure that students don't miss out on notices, notifications, and announcements, and that you can deliver that personalized information to the students as they log in, which means that you can help understand what type of student is it, what type of user are they, and you can deliver the specific information because they're in a certain grade or a certain subject or a certain extra activity or a certain campus. The portal is also a really great place to surface other information that is relevant to students, such as timetables, calendars, school calendars, subjects, so a list of the subjects they're enrolled in, contact details, whether that's contact details of their teachers or head of their year or the school, upcoming assignments and tests, and that's fantastic information you can surface from your Canvas LMS, and that's great as part of that integration we do here at Elcom, is bringing in upcoming assignments and tests, so it's that one-stop shop there, as well as marks from those assignments and tests, and those are fantastic elements that you can bring in from Canvas as well. So when you're logging into the portal there, you can see those Canvas elements displayed there, ready for the student to see what do they need to do next. So those are some really important elements in terms of how do you improve that experience and that engagement with the students. As mentioned, they've grown up with this technology. They expect to be able to do it in a really easy way. And the fantastic thing is, of all the groups you'll be implementing the portal for, or that would be your potential user group or user market, the fantastic thing, as everybody probably knows, is that because the students have grown up with this, they're going to be the quickest to jump on board, the quickest to adopt the portal, the quickest to learn, and probably the lowest maintenance from a support perspective, because they're going to know exactly what to do, and they're going to be completely familiar with how you would log into a portal, how you would engage with the portal. And they'll also help you drive that innovation. So they definitely won't be shy to let you know what they expect from the portal as well. So if there's some information that they cannot access from the portal, they'd be very quick and easy to jump in and let you know this is what they'd like to see. Streamlining your communication with parents and helping to improve their digital experience is really, really important and a key central area of the portal. Too often we hear from parents that there are just too many systems they need to log into at the school to access the information, get their child's test marks or fill in a form, and delivering this information in a mobile-friendly, intuitive, and easy-to-use way through a personalized portal is really going to help you streamline and improve your communication with the parents and the school community. You can also ensure that they have a better digital experience with the school, helping them access the information they need in one place without having to remember a million different passwords. Parents can also easily fill in the forms, including those medical forms, absentee forms, and permission slips that we spoke about earlier, and that's in that one-stop shop. All of this is really going to help reduce the amount of manual administration the school needs to do, and also those phone calls to the reception and the front desk there, which is always taking up a lot of time with everybody. So definitely parents are a big driver. We have a lot of schools that often come to us and they wanting to implement a portal, and the parents are actually the driver asking and requesting for that functionality. I definitely think these days it's expected, and so it's a great way that your parents are driving that requirement or driving that need to implement that school portal there as well. The other one as well is, before I do forget about that as well, the other one as well is improving your staff efficiency. So, we've discussed the students and the parents, but improving your staff efficiency is another key area over there. So when you're thinking about what are the staff doing, how are they accessing the information you need, what would they do on the portal? If you think about the staff, it really can be that central place that staff log in to access information, whether they're accessing news and information, whether they're completing online forms, whether they're looking at downloading the latest school policy and documents. There's tons of ways in which staff can actually save time. For example, finding the right person in the school to speak to or sending a group email to ask a question. Instead of that group email, they can easily jump in, search, and find the appropriate information they need or the appropriate contact they need. You can also then help deliver specific news to staff. So you may have news that's only for staff members, and you can target them in the school portal so that only those staff members are going to be accessing that specific information. If a staff needs to take a day of PTO or a day of leave, they can easily apply for this online and it can go through that approval process. Or if they're arranging an excursion or a field trip, they can complete that form through the portal. So there are many ways that the staff in the school can actually benefit from the portal as well. Canvas and Elcom can integrate really well together. Both platforms have powerful APIs that support integration and will enable you to deliver a tailored experience to your users in the broader school community. As you'll be familiar, there is so much information in Canvas, and so the best way to go about working out what information to integrate into the portal is to think about the end user experience. What do you want students, parents, and staff to see from Canvas? This will help then determine what elements from Canvas should be brought through and displayed in your school portal. It's also really important to remember that the portal is another way to surface information to parents, teachers, students, and staff. It by no means is the central place to go and do all your learning. With all our clients, when we integrate to Canvas, that's all done through Canvas, and we 100% encourage that, and that's the way we drive. It's more about, if you think about the parent experience, maybe they just want to quickly see what are the latest marks or what assignment is due next week. So it's about helping improve the information the parent can quickly get access to, but all the learning, all the teaching, everything is driven 100% through Canvas there. I thought we'd touch on some of the examples of what you'd potentially integrate or bring through from Canvas. So, a great example might be things like images from Canvas, and also to-do lists. So potentially what's due in the next 7 days as an example. So, here's a little screenshot as an example of an element that you could bring through from Canvas there around what's due in the next few days. This is an example of what's coming up. So you can see bringing an element here from Canvas around what's coming up, and you can see this user's got a history study group coming up, a Bill of Rights topics discussion, a safety and science peer review session. So you can see over there the information coming from Canvas, whether they're complete or not, the date, time, and all the relevant information there. So they're getting that experience and surfacing that content. Another example here is recent feedback. So, might want to be able to quickly see feedback displayed on the portal there so the parents can access that. And the great thing is that's going to sit side by side around the school news, for example. And so they can look at recent feedback there from specific assignments or assessments or surveys or whatever it might be. Other elements we see aside from recent feedback would be things like viewing grades or the courses I am taking. So all those Canvas elements that everyone would be very familiar with is surfacing and bringing that information into the portal. And also calendars, so parents can see the current week, the week before, as well as a week after. So again, a whole range of different elements you'd be surfacing from Canvas into the portal. Viewing grades is obviously a really important one, and I think that's definitely a key area where you sort of want to be zooming in and seeing what are those grades, what did you get in that assessment last week, or that assignment, or that quiz. So there's a range of different elements you can be bringing in and integrating into the portal. Here's a quick example of a school portal that's delivering personalized information and news, as well as displaying relevant information from Canvas and the school information system. This is just our template example. We have awesome in-house design team who can help customize designs of the portals according to your needs. And this will really help ensure that your portal has a personalized, unique look and feel. And it'll also help follow your school's culture and branding guidelines. Here are some other elements bringing information through from Canvas onto the portal. So you can see here we're displaying for these two users their upcoming assignments as well as their grades, and surfacing that information and those elements from Canvas over there. The great thing is that, as mentioned, there's so much flexibility around the Canvas API that you can really help deliver a personalized, engaged digital experience there for your parents, teachers, students, and staff by surfacing different relevant Canvas elements. And then obviously when they want to jump in to do their learning or do that assignment or submit that assessment or do that learning, they can click through and you can single sign on a user into Canvas so they don't have to re-log in. There's single sign-on authentication. I've also shown an example here of pulling in some information from a school information system. So if you're looking at surfacing information from multiple systems, this is an example of pulling information from another school system you might be using, such as a school information system. I think it's really important that at the same time as integrating Elcom with Canvas for your school portal, you also think about what other systems are in the school that you might want to bring into the school portal. Maybe it's a school information system, maybe it's a finance system, or whatever it might be. And this is really going to help deliver that 360-degree viewing experience for your users of the portal, as well as providing all the portal information and functionality alongside your Canvas and other system information. So it essentially builds that one-stop shop, that one-stop communication hub for the school. Some of those column elements we see that are integrated into the portal from sometimes school information systems can include staff and parent contact details, student birthdays, timetables, parent-teacher interviews, parent details, financial information around when school fees are due, student profiles, and historic absences, for example. So there's a range of elements and information there. The integrating with Canvas is really easy and part of those standard portal projects, which is fantastic. And it really enables you to think, what else should we potentially integrate? Before we move into the Q&A session, for those that are not familiar, I wanted to provide a quick overview and introduction to Elcom. Elcom is a school's digital engagement platform. Elcom helps power your parent, student, teacher, and alumni portals, as well as your website and enrollment sites, staff intranets, medical portals, staff onboarding and development, as well as forms and workflow solutions. Elcom is a powerfully simple platform with the ability to easily integrate to other systems, providing you with a beautiful experience as you create your portal and deliver personalized, engaging experiences to your school communities. We'd love to talk to you about how we can help you deliver your digital engagement and portal objectives. So please feel free to contact us to discuss them in more detail. Elcom has been designed from the ground up to enable non-technical users to easily manage, update, and contribute to the school portal, so you don't need any in-house technical expertise or experience. If you do have in-house technical expertise, there is a developer API, which is obviously that nice integration with Canvas, but please note that Elcom has been designed for those non-technical users to be able to jump in and manage the solution. So it really helps increase that level of engagement and that user adoption. So thank you very much, everyone, for your time today. My contact details are on the screen. So if you've got any questions, please contact us. Before we wrap up, I'd like to jump into a quick Q&A session, and more than happy to answer any questions that come through. So probably the first question I'll jump in today, what other elements can you bring into your school portal from Canvas? So that's a great question. One of the great things about Canvas and why we like working together is that they have really powerful APIs, which are similar to Elcom. And this means that we can work with you and help scope the specific Canvas elements that you would like to bring in and display. So you're not restricted to saying it's got to be, A, B, and C. We can really work with you, and because there's so much flexibility with the APIs, surface different information and the relevant information depending on what you're trying to pull into your school portal there. Another question has come through. Do most schools launch their school portal to the whole community in one go, or do they phase the launch to different groups? That's also a really great question. It really depends on the school, their appetite for change, and how they adopt new technology. I think you obviously know your school community the best. So we do see a lot of schools that do launch the portals all in one go. And then we do see some schools that want to do it based on a specific group. And often they'll go with that group that adopts best to change. So if you know your school community and you think the teachers will adopt the best to change, they'll do it that way, or the students or the parents, and they might pick that as the low-hanging fruit and the easier path to get users to adopt the portal. Can the school portal be used for the school events and registrations? Yes, it's a good question, definitely. And it's a very common scenario there because, again, you're driving that one-stop shop, that communication hub for the school community. In fact, the Elcom platform actually has an Events Manager module and functionality that's designed for events and registrations as well. Another question we've got, can you accept online payments through the portal? Yes, that's often done, a very, very common requirement or scenario as well. So you accept online payments, whether that's things like school fees or excursion fees or event fees or uniform or whatever it might be. And often this can also be integrated to the banking account for the online payments over there. I'll probably wrap up with this last question over here because we're probably just about on time. So I'm going to wrap up with this last question here, and then we can get back to everyone with the other questions afterwards. Question over here, we would be keen to start deploying this portal, but don't have all our requirements yet. What should we do? So very interesting question. And I guess the good news is you're often in a very similar position to a lot of other schools. So you're not different from that perspective. So, a lot of schools typically want to implement something, but don't have everything in place yet. We typically recommend you maybe look at something like a phased approach. So that way you can deploy the portal for that certain group of users where you understand specifically their requirements or that key need, and then you can add more functionality and roll it out to other areas when you need to. So great examples is some schools have needed to help improve the internal efficiency with staff, with excursion permission slips or forms and workflow or medical forms, and that's where they've started. And then they've rolled it out to add more functionality there with event registration or parent registration, or the students accessing their information and integrating that to Canvas, for example. So you can definitely, have those initial steps and start with a small area and grow. It's definitely about trying to be nimble and agile, so you don't necessarily need to have everything all lined up straight away. Great to sort of let everyone know that it's a living, breathing solution and platform, and it keeps evolving as the school evolves and the requirements evolve as well. So don't worry about having all the requirements up front. You can definitely adapt those down the line as you need to. So I'll wrap everything up over there. We'll get back to everyone with those other questions afterwards. But contact details are on the slide there. So if you want to contact us, go to www.elcomcms.com, elcomcms.com. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining today. Thank you very much for the arrangements, and thank you to Instructure for organizing everything today for the partner webinar series. We're really excited about integrating Canvas and Elcom, and if there are any other additional questions that do pop up, please feel free to get in touch with us, and we look forward to speaking and working with everybody soon. Have a fantastic day. Thank you.